Hello and welcome to the Boxing Insider, where this week we're asking, will we see Tyson Fury against Dillian White? Last week at the WBC convention, it was widely presumed that the governing body would force a fight between Tyson Fury and the WBC interim world champion Dillian White, though, as talkSPORT's Joe Coleman explains, things weren't that straightforward.
It seemed logical that the next step would be Dillian White, as he's held that interim title for a number of, that position for so long, and the interim title he gained back from Alexander Povetkin. When he pulled out the fight of Otto Wallin, as the interim champion still, having not lost the belt, we thought he would then be called. Unfortunately, he has this ongoing arbitration case against the WBC, which, until it gets resolved, we won't see anything, solved, unfortunately. The positive thing is, however, that both men want this fight. I think that's the biggest takeaway. And I think that we will see it. It will be a case of perhaps a compromise being reached on one side or the other, but they both want to fight. They both want this fight. And I think we will see it eventually.
So Joe feels fairly confident that this fight will take place, despite the fact White has these ongoing wranglings with the WBC. Even if the fight isn't ordered by the WBC, it's still a fight that can be made if Fury wants it. Now, as for Fury, he's been speaking at the weekend. He spoke to IFL TV and he said he'll be back in the ring in either late February or early March, 1,000,000%. Otherwise, he'll be sacking his full promotional outfit. Now, I've spoken to his UK promoter, Frank Warren.
And when it comes to this arbitration, as we learnt with the Wilder arbitration, these can go on for such a long time. Have you got any idea about when this is going to be resolved?
I've got no idea, and I haven't got any idea, but it won't impact on Tyson. Tyson has made it very clear he wants to fight at the end of February, early March, and that's what we are moving forward to do. I'm up there tomorrow for Tommy Fury and Jake Paul, the press thing that's being done up in Morecambe, and I'll see Tyson while I'm there, and we'll just go through some various scenarios. But, Tyson's in a good place at the moment now, and he wants to just keep active. He's had one fight in 22 months since his last fight against Deontay Wilder. So he just wants to keep active and keep working. So that's where we're at. And obviously, whatever happens with Dillian White will take its course.
So we know when Fury wants to make his ring return, but would Dillian White be prepared to face him around that time? That's bearing in mind he pulled out of last month's fight against Otto Wallin due to a shoulder injury. I've spoken to White's trainer, Xavier Miller.
When it comes to this potential fight, there's so much uncertainty at the moment, as we've spoken about already. But in your head, are you planning to have Dillian ready to take on Tyson Fury in March of next year?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%, 100%. I mean, we were in really, really good shape until we got the injury. I mean, the fight was 10, 11, 12 days away. If I remember rightly, we got that injury. We had a full camp. We were ready to go. Dillian was probably one of the best conditions he's ever been in. Really excited about that fight. Historically, again, you've always got to look at a character. Historically, Dillian's never pulled out a fight. So why are you going to pull out a Wallin? The whole camp was excited. I mean, what you don't want to do really, you don't want to be out the ring too long anyway. So of course we would have rather box than not box. Again, some people's theories are a bit strange to me. But we'll be more than ready. Like I said, the training camp we have and the setup, everything is there. You can just put your arm out and reach whatever you need. Your room's right next door. The boxing gym is right there. Strength and conditioning. Track, everything is on deck. So we're very comfortable where we are. We've got a fantastic team. Along with Harold Shadow Knight and Magic. We've got everything we need, and we're going to get the job done.
So, if Dillian White was to take on Tyson Fury at the end of February or the beginning of March, then how does he pull off an upset and defeat the Gypsy King? What approach does he take going into the ring? Here's talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
He's not going to outbox Tyson, because Tyson's too clever. He's too big. He's too long. He'll tie him up and he'll do what he's got to do. Dillian's just got to go in there and take it to him. It's got to be a dogfight from the first bell. He can't let Fury get into any sort of rhythm. But Fury might have them ideas as well. Fury might say, because Fury's like that. He proved that in the first Wilder fight. Fury likes a dogfight. And that's where the problem lies for Dillian White. That I think it's a situation where he's got to go in there and he's got to roll the dice straight away from the opening bell. And, we know that Dillian White is heavy-handed with both hands, especially the left hook. He's got a serious left hook. And he's got to go in there and hope to catch Fury early. I think that's his only method in victory. He can't go in there with sort of a game plan of, I'm going to do this, and if this doesn't work, I'm going to do that, because that's not going to work against Fury, because you just don't know what Fury's going to come out, what Fury's going to deliver. So I think that, if he's going to win the fight, he's got to go in there and he's got to take the fight to him straight away. I think that's his only way of victory.
Deontay Wilder, arguably the most devastating one-punch knockout artist in the history of the heavyweight division. He couldn't knock out Tyson Fury. So could Dillian White?
Even up to now, to this date, no one has put Derek Chisora out with one punch. You know, Derek's been in with everybody, and he's been hit with a lot of clean shots, and a lot of guys have not been able to budge Derek. Dillian done it with one punch. So, you know, with Dillian again, the power's real. We've worked technically on a few things since I've been with Dillian for like 2 years now. You know, I want him to be a more complete fighter, so that's what I've been working on with him. So he's an even more dangerous fighter now. So, you know, to me, yes, Wilder does have that right hand. It's real, and I respect it. But Dillian has a lot more tools in the box to me, a lot more. You know, Dillian's an outstanding body puncher as well. So it's a different puzzle for Tyson. You know, there's a lot. There's going to be a lot for him to deal with. I think that's probably why there's some hesitation.
So we know that Tyson Fury is preparing to make his return to the ring in either late February or early March. But if it's not Dillian White, then who else could it be?
You know, he wants to be active. His mindset is that he wants to get in the ring and he wants to fight. And it's been that way since he's come back. And that is basically his mantra. Get me out. I want to fight. I'm not hanging around. I'm not sitting around. I'm not waiting for anything. Just get me out. And that's really what our job is to do, is to ensure that happens. And he's going to, as I say, he's got to make a decision as to who he wants to fight.
And if it's not going to be Dillian White, and if it's going to be tricky to make that Usyk fight, Joe Joyce is somebody who's well ranked when it comes to the WBC, the WBO. Do you think that's a fight you'd like to make now, though?
I think it's a great fight for the British fans, but there's lots of options. But as I say, at the end of the day, we'll be clearer when we sit down and we go through it together and make a decision as to which direction he wants to go in.
And in terms of the chats you've had with Bob, is it the next fight for Tyson, something you'd like to see in the UK now?
Well, Bob has said that, and I've said that. I mean, you know, unless somebody comes up with another option, there's something to consider. We'll see. But you know, Bob's his American promoter. I promote everything outside of America, and that's where we're at. So we will make a decision. And as I say, if something comes out left field, then it's something we'll consider. But in the meantime, we've got to just make sure that we deliver, and we're not going to be sitting around waiting for something to happen. We've got to make it happen.
Well, why don't we hear from Joyce himself? He spoke to me from his training base in Las Vegas.
I'm looking for the big names, the guys at the top. I see my name being mentioned with Tyson Fury, and so yeah, that's a potential fight. And also there's Usyk. Joshua's still about. There's there's some pretty good fights. This right here, right ready for the taking. So it's pretty good names, and I should be in some good exciting fights.
It was quite interesting because I know you're quite close with Tyson Fury, but you did put out on social media that you're free February, March, because we know he wants to fight then. We're not sure what's going on with the WBC. So is that a fight that you would really like to take in February if it was offered to you?
Of course, yeah. Come on, it's for... I want to get... My aim in professional boxing is to be world champion and etc. So them fights that get me closer to that goal, then that's what I'm all about. And especially if it's for a world title, then I'm definitely game.
What do you see happening in that fight if you were to take on Tyson Fury? I mean, it's a fascinating matchup for the fans. Yeah,
it's a tough fight. It's a very tough fight. Tyson Fury is very skilled, and he's a tall, big, strong, tall guy. He's got long range. He's got plenty of, can switch, hit on both southpaw and orthodox. And his skill set's, really good. His mindset as well. So it's going to be a real big challenge. But we'll see what happens.
But what does Tyson's old man, John Fury, think?
He's got a lot of things, I's to dot and T's to cross. But I want Usyk because the other men are not in his class. The rest of these heavyweights are a run out for Tyson. They're a walkout, but it's a well-paid walkout. So yeah, let's bring it on. But we're after Usyk. We want to prove now that Tyson's the dominant heavyweight in the fight by sparkling the Ukrainian. Because the Ukrainian is far better than what the rest of them are. But they're a run out. They're a tool sharpener. So we'll have them, whoever it may be. But Usyk.
Make sure you check out our interviews in full and let us know what you think by leaving a comment below. Will Dillian Whyte finally get a shot at the world title? And could he beat Tyson Fury if he was to step in the ring with the Gypsy King? And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our boxing content across the talkSPORT network.